Defining crime. A crime is any behavior that is unlawful and punished by the state. It is an act, or lack of an act, for example not paying your TV license, that is harmful to an individual, group or society as a whole. What is considered a crime and how that act is dealt with varies considerably from culture to culture. Almost all research in forensic psychology can be considered ethnocentric, as it is only relevant to the culture where the research was carried out. For example, bigamy is illegal in the UK but not in all cultures. The age of criminal responsibility is 10 in England and Wales, but 8 in Scotland, being raised to 12, and 14 in most other European countries. Definitions of crime change over time. For example, a parent's right to smack their own child was outlawed in 2004. Homosexuality became legal in Britain in 1967. So the definition of a crime is actually a social construction. It's related to the dominant morals and values of a particular culture at a particular time. Measuring crime. There are 3 methods of measuring crime you need to know about: victim surveys, offender surveys, and official statistics. Official statistics. Each year the government produces official crime statistics, for example the Home Office for England and Wales. It includes any incident reported to or discovered by the police. It is useful because historical comparisons can be made to look at trends in crime, however it may miss the dark figure of crime which goes unreported. Victim surveys. One of the largest victim surveys carried out in the UK is the Crime Survey for England and Wales. A sample of people are asked which crimes have been committed against them over a fixed period of time. It is a face-to-face survey which collects data from 50,000 households in the UK who are selected at random through a postcode lottery. This means that not all households will be interviewed, and also participants have the right to withdraw or refuse to be interviewed. It mainly includes people aged 16 or over. A smaller sample of 10 to 15-year-olds are also included. It is useful because it may potentially find out about the dark figure of unreported crime. However, the sample is biased as it only includes people who live in a home and so excludes those on the street. Offender surveys. These surveys are designed to take information from offenders, often those in prison, in order to develop an understanding of the behavior and attitudes of offenders. The Offending Crime and Justice Survey was a longitudinal study carried out between 2003 and 2006. The first year only contained a sample of people aged 10 to 65 living in private households, but in the second year this was increased to 5,000 people ages 10 to 25 studied longitudinally up to 2006. Over 95% of respondents remained with the study over the 4 years. They identified specific trends in antisocial behavior, namely a peak between the ages of 14 and 16, and the relationship between offending behavior and the use of drugs or alcohol. This kind of data helps researchers to identify potential risk factors and develop ways to prevent a person from becoming an offender, for example through treatment programs targeted at certain age groups. Evaluation. Despite the variation in how crimes are identified, there is universal agreement about the unacceptability of some behaviors. For example, murder, rape and theft. However, even within those categories there are cultural variations in the law. For example, in France a crime passionnel, a crime of passion, may lead to a more lenient sentence for murder if a court decides the murderer acted from a strong and unplanned impulse. So cultural attitudes may influence how crimes are defined and dealt with by legal systems. Furthermore, a problem with official statistics is that they underrepresent certain types of crime. For example, only a certain number of crimes make it through the crime funnel. Victims may feel the police won't take their crime seriously, may want to avoid the stigma of being a victim, or may not even be aware the crime was committed. Walker et al., 2006, found that only 42% of crimes reported to the British Crime Survey were reported to the police. This means that official statistics miss the dark figure of unreported crime, although general trends reported from both kinds of statistics tend to be in agreement, such as increases in vehicle thefts. There are also issues with victim surveys. People may not be honest, and samples may be unrepresentative. The sampling is biased as people may not want to report crimes with a stigma attached, like rape, or may feel the crime is too trivial to report. A further criticism is that there are issues with the sampling. Random sampling aims to identify a representative sample, but the fact is that the sample is only drawn from those with a postal address and only 75% of those contacted take part, meaning the final sample is biased. Only people who have more times on their hands and an interest in upholding the law will respond. So although victim surveys may provide information about the dark figure of unreported crime, they may still result in an underestimate. Finally, offender surveys also rely on self-report methods. This is a problem because any self-report method is subject to certain problems such as lack of accuracy in answers. People may underlay criminal involvement and other behaviors such as drug use due to social desirability bias or fear of getting into trouble. However, the OCJS report that participants said they were honest in their answers, hails it AL 2007. Despite this, it doesn't prove the results were accurate as there's still a possibility they're lying. It is therefore difficult to assess how accurate the data is.